So this morning, when I looked in the mirror, I saw something that I never noticed before. I mean, I look in the mirror every day, several times a day, while brushing my teeth or styling my hair, putting makeup on, washing my hands. I mean, I'm looking in the mirror. And depending on what I'm doing in the mirror is usually what I focus on. So if I'm brushing my teeth, I'm focusing on looking at me brushing my teeth or putting on my makeup, or if I'm washing my hands. But this morning, I saw something that I never seen before. I mean, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see your gender, what gender you are? Do you see your race? Because maybe you see your race. Maybe when you look in the mirror, you see your age. You look in the mirror and you see your age. What if it's your nationality that you see when you look in the mirror? It could be your political party, maybe. I mean, I don't know what you see when you look in the mirror. Or your religion. Maybe when you look in the mirror, you see your marital status. You look in the mirror and that's what you see. Or maybe you see your health status. Because different people, when they look in the mirror, they see different things. Sometimes, maybe they see how educated you are. Maybe when you look in the mirror, you see your income level. When you look in the mirror, though, but do you see a kind person? When you look in the mirror and your reflection comes back, do you see a kind person? Do you see a mean person? Do you see a person who is positive or a person who's negative? Is the person in your mirror confident and brave? Is the person in your mirror happy or sad? In your mirror, is the person preoccupied with other things? Can you depend on the person in your mirror? I mean, are they trustworthy and reliable? The person in your mirror, do they finish things they start or implement things that they learn? Does the person in your mirror, your mirror, do they have goals? Do they work on those goals? Is the person in your mirror accountable? Are they accountable for their actions? Let me ask you something else. Do you talk to the person in your mirror? Like, do you talk to that person? And if you do, what do you say? Do you say kind things? Do you say kind and encouraging and motivating words to that person in the mirror? Or do you say mean and hurtful and harsh words to that person? To that person in your mirror, do you like what you see? Do you smile at that person? Or when you look in your mirror, do you see and point out all of your flaws? Now, depending on the time of day, I notice many things when I look at my mirror. I mean, there are times when I'm in a hurry and I don't notice anything at all. But there was a time where I didn't like what I saw, where I didn't smile at the person in my mirror. I didn't speak kind to myself, where all I saw when I looked in my mirror were flaws, fears, and regret. That's what I used to see when I looked in the mirror. There were times where I saw a scared, unhappy young woman who didn't implement things she learned. And you know what? tired of looking at her. I mean, I got tired. So one day, I went to the Super Walmart. You know, the one with the grocery store in it? With all the groceries. They got groceries and they got all that other stuff. And I bought me a big bottle of Windex. And I got a clean rag. And I sprayed that mirror down. I mean, I soaked it. Windex was dripping to the floor. And I took that rag and I wiped and I wiped and I wiped. When I was finished, I looked at that mirror. It was clean, but had a lot of streaks because I wasn't necessarily wiping in any form of order. I was just wiping. So I went back to Walmart and I bought me a squeegee. You know those squeegee things? I bought one of those. And I went back home and I sprayed that mirror down again with Windex. Everything was soaking wet. Everything around it, the floor, the countertops, I didn't care. I sprayed and sprayed and sprayed Windex on that mirror. And I took that squeegee this time, because last time I had just a rag. I took that squeegee and I squeezed all the water and streaks out of that mirror. And then I wiped up all the excess Windex that was on the floor. And I looked into that mirror again. And I saw a better version of myself. One that I'm proud of. And now when I look in the mirror, if I start to see some streaks, I pull that Windex out again and I get to spraying. You see, you don't have to not like what you see in that mirror. You can change what you see. You don't like that, you don't take action, then take action. Start taking action. You don't like that, you don't have goals, well then start making goals. You don't like that you aren't reliable or trustworthy, then start being reliable and trustworthy. If you aren't accountable, then start being accountable. And then look in that mirror again. If it's still not where you want to be, you try again. I've said so many times, many times you'll hear me say, we are not trees. We are not stuck in any situation. We're not planted in the ground and unable to move or change. Because for every situation, there's a solution. Now, the solution isn't always easy. So let me start there, because sometimes the solution is hard and difficult, but it's a solution nonetheless. So you don't like your city? Move to another one. You don't like the state you're in? Well, move to a different state. Don't like your job? Find a new one. Guess what? You don't like that new job? Find another one. You don't want to work for anybody? Then start a business. You want to learn a new skill? Then educate yourself. Maybe your circle is holding you back. Then get a new circle. Friends aren't supportive? Guess what? Find new friends. Sometimes we get caught up in how others see us. But the real truth lies in how we see ourselves. Tonight, before you go to bed, take a good look in your mirror. I mean, a good one. Don't just glance at yourself, but take a good look at your inner self. I want you to come back tomorrow and comment and tell me what you see. So every Wednesday, at 4 p.m., I go live on Instagram and Facebook. to answer all of your HR or business questions. If you have any questions, put them in the comment box and I'll answer them today on live, or I'll answer them later if I don't get a chance to answer them today. I want to thank y'all for coming. I want to go back because I saw some comments coming in. So let me see. It says, go back. Yes, that person. Wait, here you. Yes, that person in the mirror does. Oh, we talk. Yes, I say kind and wonderful things. It's important what you say to yourself. I always thought that was the dumbest thing. Who cares? That is so true. How you talk to yourself matters. What you say to yourself, your mind hears that. Your body hears that. Your voice talking about yourself to yourself, it makes a difference. And if you are not kind, encouraging, and motivating, it makes a difference. What you say to yourself. So absolutely. And then goes, hi, Stacy. Love you, Belinda. Love you back, Stacy. Excellent words to that person in the mirror. I like all the other stuff. Oh my gosh, this is so good, so good. Love, love, love. Did the Windex affect your brain? The Windex is the metaphor of what I transformed myself. So I saw things that I didn't like. I started changing them. And as I was changing them and I still saw, it was improving and I liked more of what I saw. And I saw streaks. That's what I said. I went back, got another tool, because that's what the squeegee was, a tool to clean up all those areas. And when I put the Windex, I put the squeegee, and I put the rag underneath my sink. And when I look in the mirror, if I see something that I don't like, so if something I need to improve on, something I need to do better, I bring out that Windex, the squeegee, and the rag, and I start cleaning. Which means I start making myself better to make sure to implement some things that I've learned or to learn something else to make me better. So that's what that was. Amazing. Oh, I can feel the poor squeegee screaming, leave me alone. It was screaming because I had a good tight grip on that squeegee. And I got a lot of use out of it because I still use it. Love this balloon. What happened to the poor squeegee? I still have it. This is amazing. Did the Windex and the squeegee get married? I don't know, but they're friends. Mirror work is what I do every day. What a story. I love it. But what happened to the squeegee? The squeegee is still there. The squeegee is still there. Oh, we have a question. So I'm going to read that. This is so good today. Hi, Stacey. I was so into the relationship between the squeegee and the mirror. They're still together. At this point, I'm cleaning with bleach. Be gone, negativity. Amen to that. Cleaning with bleach. I love it. Cleaning with bleach. So there's a question. Is your supervisor allowed to go in your work file and ask you, are all of your children by the same? No, they're not. Your supervisor, your personnel file is on a need to know basis. And sometimes your supervisor is not even allowed to see everything that's in your personnel file because you have personal stuff in there for benefits. The benefits that you're on, your supervisor doesn't need to know that. It has nothing to do with your work performance. Your children and who their father is has absolutely nothing to do with your work performance. So no, they should not be going into your work file and ask you that question anyway. That's an inappropriate question. And you can say, I don't appreciate you going in my file, read how many children I have, and then ask me if they're all by the same man. You can report that to HR because that is not professional and that should not be happening in the workplace. They are not allowed to do that and should not be doing that. All right, let's see. There's a question in the question box. How often should we clean our mirror? Oh my gosh, that's such a wonderful question. How often should we clean our mirror? We need to clean it as often as we need to. Some people, because you know how they'll say, you should vacuum your house this often. You change the sheets in your bed this often. With your mirror, there is no once a week or once a month. It could be every day. It could be every time you go in there if you need to. If every time you looked in the mirror and you saw something that you needed to clean up or change, then you clean the mirror then. There is no time frame on how often you should be cleaning your mirror. How often as you need to is the answer to that. There is a movie when you spray Windex. Oh, wait. There's a movie when you spray Windex, it takes toxins away. There you go. Toxins be gone. Is that a violation from HR, allowing supervisors to have access to your personnel file? So, what is your company's policy? So, your company has a policy and procedure manual. So, every company, a policy procedure that they follow, protocol. So, you can read in that and see what your supervisor is allowed to see in your personnel file. So, your supervisor, things that your supervisor need to know, your performance evaluations. They can know about that. Maybe your resume, because maybe they're looking for certain skills because they want to try want to have to go in a different direction and want to see if you have the skills or education. Trainings, past trainings that you've had. Those, if you've been written up, those are the things that a supervisor needs to know. How many children, what your benefits are, what you take out in taxes, has nothing to do with your supervisor. That's what I would say. Now, do they have access to your personnel file? Again, some companies may allow that. They have to sign out for it, but they should only be looking on those things and signing out just for those items. It's not a free-for-all. Your performance, your HR personnel, your personnel file is not a free-for-all for people to open up and read through it like a yearbook, because it's not. They should only be looking at certain things that will apply to your performance. Again, write-ups, trainings that you've had, past performance evaluations. They can see if you've been tardy, because that may be marked on there. Your resume, because they may be looking for skills or things that they may be looking for skills or trainings or experience that you may have that they don't readily know. Outside of that, they should not be looking at your personnel file. They should not be looking through it. It's not a yearbook for public display. It's not a library book where they can go and just check it out and read through the whole thing. So it's not that either. Is it the same for transportation? Is it the same for transportation that it is for asking about kids? What if I don't have a car or drive? So the question is always, do you have reliable transportation? What is your definition of reliable? What's their definition or requirement of reliable? So if you have to report to one place every day and you're maybe using the bus, or maybe, you have Uber, or however you're getting by, if you don't have a car, so maybe somebody bring you, is that reliable? Is the bus system reliable? Bus systems are supposed to be reliable because they're with the county. So they, or for some people for the state, so they're supposed to be reliable. They're reliable. You know when they're going to run, when they stop running, when it starts. That's reliable. You know where the bus stop is, how far it is from your house. So they may ask you, do you have a car? Because maybe you have to transport, because maybe you have to go back and forth. So they may ask you, do you mind transporting? Are you able to go to several different places? If it's on a bus route, you can say that my reliable transportation is my bus. But they're not going to go through your personnel file, and they are probably not going to ask you outright, do you have a car? They'll more likely say, do you have reliable transportation? Can you talk about your reliable transportation? HR has our personnel record. Thank you for answering my question. You are very welcome. Yes, HR has your personnel records locked up. It is confidential. That's the other thing too. Personnel records are confidential, kind of like your medical records. That's not for everybody to see. So yeah, if they've gone through your personnel record to look to see how many kids you have, and then have the nerve to ask you if they all have the same father, you need to let somebody know that. You need to let HR know that. You need to maybe let their supervisor know that, because that's not appropriate. And they should be able to get in a lot of trouble. All right, let's see. Thank you for answering my question. How many questions should you ask a potential employer in an interview? It's a good question. So I always say you always want to have a question at the interview. A lot of times we're so nervous and, trying to get through the interview and ready to leave and get out of there because we're so nervous and uncomfortable, but you always should ask a question. So I tell people between 3 and 5 questions. Between 3 and 5, because it's not Jeopardy. You don't want to just keep bombarding them with questions, but you want to ask important questions. And I always give the example because people always say, should I ask about pay? Pay is important. Pay is important, but it is not the most important thing out there. And I'll give an example. If I was paying $1 million to work with me, for me, $1 million, and this is the example I give all the time. $1 million, you're going to be like, heck yeah, I'm going to work for Belinda. $1 million? Absolutely. And you come in here and I'm mean, I'm rude. I have dogs roaming in here and I kick dogs and I curse people out. That million don't seem too good. That million, because then at some point you'd be like, that ain't even worth $1 million. She's mean, she's cruel, she kicks innocent, sweet animals. You wouldn't work for me for $1 million. So when people always be like, what's the pay? Pay is important because we have to pay our bills and things like that. It is not the most important question you should ask. You want to ask things like, and let them tell you. And even in the first question, first interview, you don't even need to know about the benefit package because you're weighing your options. Let them talk, tell you about the position. You can do some research. You can be thinking about what the pay is when they call you back, because they're either going to call you back for a second interview or they're going to call you back to offer you the position. That's when you bring up pay. Well, what's the pay? I didn't know. I couldn't find it anywhere on here. I couldn't find the pay. They'll tell you what it is at that time. You can negotiate if you want to negotiate. You can negotiate the benefit package. The other thing too is, what I tell people is a lot of people are stuck on negotiating pay when you can negotiate your benefits. Like, can I get since it's a little lower than what I thought, instead of having 2 weeks off of vacation, can I have 4? Instead of working from home 1 day a week, can I work from home 2 days a week or 3 days a week? So when you think about negotiation, just don't stick with pay. Negotiation can be a lot of things. It can go in a lot of different directions. Those are great questions, 1969 son. So thank you for asking those questions. Let me see if there are any questions on Facebook. There's no questions on Facebook. If you haven't already signed up for my newsletter, Rocket Employment Newsletter, what are you waiting for? Every Friday, a newsletter comes out. We talk about confidence and employment. And we talk about, yes, you can ask another question. Can you give me an example of a good question to ask, please? That's my last question. I'm never tired of talking about employment. People may be tired of hearing me talk about it, but I'm never tired of talking about it. So you can always ask questions. So can you give me an example of a good question to ask? Yes. You can say, when do you plan to make a decision? Because maybe they're interviewing now to start in January. You can ask, can you tell me what a typical day is like here? You can ask, what type of employee are you looking for? You can ask, what happened to the last person that had this position? Those are good questions because it gets them talking. Because so if they say, oh, well, the type of person we're looking for, and they'll list all these wonderful things, and you think in your head, oh, I got some of those. So your reply back is, oh, that's great because I have blah, 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 the same things they're looking for. Or the last person left because they got promoted. So now we have open positions. So in your mind, you're thinking, oh, well, good. Well, they promote from within. Or the last person left, they only worked a week. The person before that worked 2 days. So then you're thinking to yourself, what's with this position that the turnover is so high? So you can ask those type of questions. When you plan to make a decision, can you tell me what a typical day is like? You can ask, what happened to the last person, or why are you hiring for this position now? There's a lot of questions. If you go on my YouTube, Rocket Employment YouTube, I have a video about 7 questions you can ask in an interview, or 8 questions you can ask in an interview. Some great questions, some great answers on there as well. So also sign up for my newsletter. If you go to my link, thank you. If you go to my link in the bio, click on it, register, subscribe to the newsletter. It comes out every Friday. I have some good answers on there as well. And I give away free things on that as well. And for the people who don't already know this, as you know, on my live, I post just about every day. And we're having a 2023 Takeoff Symposium on November 18th. It is free. We're going to be giving away some giveaways on there as well. There are 5 speakers outside of myself, so 6 great speakers. We're going to be talking about consistency. We're going to be talking about taking action. We're going to be talking about faith and finance. We're going to be talking about confidence. We're going to be talking about mobility. And we're going to be talking about breathing and health. And we have the hostess from the mostest who's going to be hosting this whole thing throughout the thing. The hostess for the mostest. So it's free on November 18th. If you have not already signed up, please sign up now. If you go to my story, it should be in there. If not, I'll post it as soon as we get off this live. To click on it and register for this free event. A very, very free event. So I hope that, a lot of people attend again. We're giving some giveaways. So it's going to be great on that. Every Wednesday at 4 p.m. I go live. Sign up for my newsletter if you haven't already signed up. And sign up for the 2023 Takeoff Symposium. Some great speakers, a lot of great information. If you are thinking about or want to or need some tools and resources on how to make your 2023 the best that it can be, then this is where you want to start. 6 great speakers, 1 fantastic host. There's no lose here. 2023 Takeoff Symposium. I hope to see you there. Thank you all for coming on my live today. And I'll see you at work. Hey, before you leave, I need you to subscribe. We need more rocket stars to land their dream job. Subscribe.